Music on the whole for the last 4.5 years has definitely been one of my main mechanisms to keep me coping. Basically releasing everything that you feel.
Find myself mumbling, yeah, my mum thinks I'm cool, that's what I find troubling. My mind sets messed up, it feels like I'm scribbling, I'm sick of this, talking to myself as if I had a sibling. These days, I find it hard to get a grip, and all these thoughts now, they make me feel sick now. I'm losing the weight, but now I'm gaining a lip, I'm on the edge, I feel like I'm about to fall asleep.
I was quite depressed as a young person, and I still battle with it now. I really struggled with sort of engaging with my work and having motivation. I always had a good rapport with teachers, so they were a bit nicer to me and they gave me a bit more leeway. I had one teacher who took me back to her house, put me in a room, give me loads of space, give me chocolate, give me sweets, give me everything just to like motivate me to learn. If she hadn't have done that, I would have been at home getting wasted instead.
I had bulimia for 10 years, and for most of that I felt like I was the only one, and that it was a problem that I couldn't talk about and I didn't really understand the roots of it.
So who did end up wearing it? You can guess. Kent. Right. Put you in as the guy with the big...
My perspective is that it's a form of self-harm. It's a way that anxieties and confusions about what's out there gets turned inwards. People cut themselves to feel certain things and for certain reasons. I was a bulimic to deal with certain things, and because I was trying to seek control, to fill that feeling of emptiness that the world and its confusions often gives us, and then you feel shame and you try and get rid of it. I did okay at school, like I managed to get through, but I was bullied and had no friends in school whatsoever.
I guess the most recent time for me would probably be my hips. My hips basically came out of place, and because I'm such an active person, I've constantly got to be doing something. Being stuck in a house for near enough a year, I think it was, I got depression because of that. I didn't really have many friends, I guess. I felt quite lonely. I think that if I was to link back to a time when I've really felt my lowest, that would definitely be it. But I don't think I've ever felt like so trapped and sad and angry at the world, than I did back then, I guess. So, yeah.
Is that we are right on the edge of a very vibrant city, but I don't think, from my experience, our young people really benefit from that city or necessarily feel part of it. This has historically always been a deprived neighbourhood and is always up there in the high levels of deprivation nationally. Issues around mental health are becoming so much more prolific than schools are able to deal with.
20% of adolescents may experience a mental health problem in any given year. 50% of mental health problems are established by age 14 and 70% by age 24. 10% of children and young people aged 5 to 16 years old have a clinically diagnosable mental health problem. Yet, 70% of children and adolescents who experience mental health problems have not had appropriate intervention at a sufficiently early age. To address this, a group of Sussex students are attempting to revolutionize PHHE education by designing and facilitating sessions with young people to open up discussion on mental health and personal relations.
A traditional classroom environment isn't necessarily the best way to encourage people to think about sometimes difficult themes around sex and relationships, sometimes about, lifestyle choices, or to really challenge anything like that. It's quite hard, I think, to do with one adult to multiple young people.
Sussex students have these traumas that need to be channeled, and they have things that they want to talk about and things that they can work out through conversations with young people, but give them a platform to say their personal story and say, this has happened to me and this is how I felt. Because that is inspirational and it breaks down so much stigma, and research has shown that young people remember that and it helps them. My brother had a nervous breakdown when he was doing his A-level. He didn't talk about the fact that he'd started to struggle, and he basically had an internal collapse. And I believe that could have been stopped if he'd have had a chance to not only talk about his mental health problems and the fact that he couldn't cope with his school, but also if like gender and masculinities, and that had been addressed. Role models is all about starting where you are and being genuine. You're a role model, you're not a celebrity. You're just a normal person who is going through life and challenges and taking that on board. It's all about learning how to channel your traumas and growing with that and learning how to harness it, and not put it under that rug, but say, this is who I am, this is what I've struggled with, this is the context and how I understand it, and hopefully this can help other people.
It's like if you get a cut on your knee, you have an injury. If you get a cut, let's say to your mental health, it's not obvious that you've got that problem with your mental health, but it's still there and it's still a thing and it's still real just because you can't see it.
I just hope to have been there for a young person when they needed it. If I've helped just one person know where to turn to when they're in an issue or crisis, that's great.
If I'd got some guidance back then that it was okay to have problems and to reach out, and that there were people that could be trusted to help, then I think that may have made a big difference in my life.
I don't feel patronised, or it's not like a teacher-student relationship. It's almost like I'm talking to someone my own age in a kind of sense. So I guess for me, like it's a lot easier.
I'll see you tomorrow at 12 in the beanbags. Alright, thanks everyone, well done. I've got some spare bits here as well from the training session last week. If there's any, just adding some of the packs to fix up, I don't know.
Speaking to a young person today who was very, very withdrawn and dismissive and didn't want to speak to any of us for the first few sessions, and I kind of sort of pushed them and they got comfortable with us, and now they've actually started talking about things that they never said that they would never talk to anyone else about before, like anxiety and things that are going on at home and all of these things that are really important, but they were always too afraid to talk about, and so now we really want to have more sessions with this group.
Yeah, they're brilliant, to be honest. Like I haven't ever opened up like into anyone than I have in front of these lot, to be honest. And I guess that's kind of why I respect them in the way I do, and why I appreciate their sessions more than probably half the rest of the class. So yeah. Thank you. Yay. No, don't stop crying. No, don't. Please don't cry. No.
Oh man, we're gonna miss you. Such great smiles.
Yeah, it is. You're so adorable.
He's like a big man. Let's have a group photo, guys.
You got me in that, by the way.
Okay.
Don't act like you're not enjoying the fact that you're missing maths.
Yo. I can paint a picture with the possibilities, make the world a better place and show with positivity. Like maths, I'm using probability, as if the world are being told as if it is a property. Seriously, we need to change things, see, or we will labor need my feet. Doesn't take a genius to see things and never how they used to be. Now I do advise that try and take a seat. I ain't here to twist your neck and make you bleed, cause now I'm believing in that freedom of the speech. And how the rise of the geeks, the fool of the freaks, the fool of the speak, the lord of the beast, and talk to the even dads. Always got a master thing.